Okay, today we're drinking a vodka and cranberry juice during this video, so that's fun. Not that you probably care, but in some videos I'm drinking some I like to share with you guys. Maybe it gets us on a more personal level. And today we're going to talk about interfaces in TypeScript, why you might want to use them, what they can do. We'll show an example. And this is part of the Relearning Angular tutorial. So if you're new or if you're wanting to, like me, relearn Angular, you've known the basics before, but you've kind of forgotten. Maybe this is for you. And if that is, and you want to stay tuned with any other videos I put out, feel free to subscribe. I really would appreciate it. We're getting close to 2,000 subs. I never thought I would get this far this quickly because the 1,000 took me so long. It seems like this is just flying by. And the channel is really growing, and I really do appreciate all of you. With all the nice comments you guys have left, it means a lot. So this is part 2 of our TypeScript. In the last video, we talked about creating variables and compiling your first TypeScript file and turning that into JavaScript using the TypeScript compiler. Today, we're going to, like I said, talk about interfaces. So in the Tour of Heroes tutorial on Angular's website, we also have I also have a playlist of going through this tutorial back in like November, October, I think, of last year. If you want to go check that out, nothing should have changed between then and now on this tutorial. I think everything's still the same. But in the first part, they create an interface for a hero. And I don't think they really explain why. They just say, hey, create this interface just like this. And this is one of the problems with the Tour of Heroes tutorial. Sure, you get to see all of this, but you might not know, why am I creating this interface? At least it doesn't say it explicitly here. But basically, what you can do with the interface, and let's go over to the tutorials teacher. It tells you the two main things you can do with the interfaces. One you might have seen before in other programming languages, and that is using it to predefine some class functionality. Like, what do you want a class to have no matter what? If the class inherits this interface, then it's a contract saying, okay, this class has to at least have all of these things. So we have an iEmployee interface as an example right here. And interfaces are always going to, or they should, start with a capital I, and the next letter is also going to be capital. And then we have some properties. We have this arrow function that is going to be implemented in the class. And we also have a method that's going to be implemented in the class. So if your class inherits this interface and you don't implement every single thing here at least, then it shouldn't compile and should let you know that, hey, you're missing something here. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're actually going to talk about interfaces as a type, kind of like we just saw in that Tour of Heroes tutorial. So this is a key pair, and we can use this as a type, and we'll show this, well, it shows you right here, actually. But you can use this as a type. You can say, okay, we're going to create this type called key pair, and there's going to be 2 values in this type. And no matter what, these values are going to exist. And that's one of the reasons you might want to use an interface as a type, because it ensures that no matter what, everything's going to be consistent. So let's create our own interface. And I had one that I thought of. So let's get rid of all this junk. And let's say interface person is going to have these properties. So the first one might be name, which is going to be of type string. And the second one, we can say age is going to be number, because no matter what, every person is going to have these 2 things about them, right? They're going to have a name, they're going to have an age, at least as far as I know. So let's say we want to define a person. Let's say I create I say var person1 is type person, that interface we just created, and that's going to be equal to open and close curly braces, and then let's go ahead and say name is going to be Tom, then comma, age is going to be 21. Okay, and now let's console.log and check out the properties of person1. So person1 dot name, and in a separate line, let's do person1 dot age. Not with capital. I think my caps lock got stuck. There we go. So now if we compile this, so tsc test dot not JS, TS. That compiled, let's go ahead and look at the JavaScript. This is what the JavaScript ends up looking like. And let's go ahead and run that. So node test.js. And here we go. We have Tom printed out just like we told it to do. And then 21 printed out as well. Now you can also have arrays of this type. And this is probably something we will see in the future when we start querying APIs for some data. It will be returned in something like an array. So we can say var persons is going to be of type person array. Oops, like that. And that's going to be equal to an array of persons. So the first one could be name Sue, and her age is going to be 43. Then we can have another one down below, and this one's name is going to be, needs to be a string. It's going to be Michael, and his age will be 34. And now we can console.log persons of index 0 and do the same with index 1. And let's go ahead and compile that and now run it. Here we go. We get both of the people. We have Sue and we have Michael. Now notice if I go back to our array up here and I remove age, I try to pull fast one and I only tried to put the name in here. Notice what happens right off the bat. I don't even have to compile yet. VS Code says, hey, age is missing in this type right here, in this interface type. And it is required. And if I go to compile it, I expect to get the same kind of error. And here we go. It says, this is where the error is. And here's an example of what we're looking for. We're looking for age as well. So that's what I mean by interfaces. If you use them as a type, it helps keep all of your data consistent, because if you leave one part out, it will not compile and you cannot go any further. So that's it for this video on interfaces. I would like to cover classes at least in the next video. That might be the last of our TypeScript series, just on the basics. And yeah, I think that's a good idea for the next video. Hope to see you in the next one, and take care.